Hi, my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and the sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin.
We're the Harry Potter podcast that talks way more about any other franchise.
Here, we use the sorting structure from Harry Potter as a common language without supporting the author or her beliefs. As for the sorting itself, there's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
According to us.
According to us.
Where you lead, I will follow anywhere that you tell me to. If you need me to be with you, I will follow.
That was amazing.
I don't know why I sing that every time. It's not a great intro.
You know what, though? It's so catchy.
I never skipped it.
The closest it reminds me to is Full House. Every other one is like really upbeat, like, you know, Friends and whatever. And everywhere you look, everywhere you
know, I think it actually really suits Gilmore Girls well, like the vibe of the show.
The New
it's
England,
not too uppity, but it's uppy enough.
Vibe, yeah.
I guess so, yeah. Hi, friend back there.
Tucker.
All right. Well, we're officially starting the episode. So, hello, and welcome to another episode of Sort of Brilliant. We have a guest here today, so I'm going to try my best to be professional and do all the right things and follow all the rules.
We just saw Tricia in person like 2 days ago, which is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You actually don't know what a feat that was, that all three of us were together. So,
yeah, that was wild.
You, the general audience, you. Yeah. Rachel and I did make it to Taylor Swift. I know that was a cliffhanger in our last episode where Rachel was like, shut up, stop talking about it.
Oof. It is nothing short of a miracle that we made it. And as promised,
Rachel
we are
doesn't understand how fast planes go and time difference.
I understand all of it.
You refuse to believe that you boarding the plane an hour late means that you still got there at the same time.
It's weird. I don't like the time difference thing either.
We made it. That's all that matters.
Honestly, it's not a difficult thing to understand. It's an annoying thing to have to calculate and think about. I don't like it. My brain doesn't naturally want to do it. You
went a different way than you originally were going to go, and it was faster.
Yeah, and it's annoying to me. And if it's annoying in my brain, I don't want to think about it or give it any kind of extra thought.
All right, you made it on time.
So to me, it went all wrong until it went right. And it went
until we were there.
We went and we did that, and
it was great.
And we were baptized.
Bought the wrong train ticket, and Rachel and I played dumb tourists so well that they just let us be on the train.
That's amazing,
isn't it?
The guy that clipped our tickets was like, "Oh, you got the wrong ones.
You're going to Indiana." And we were
don't even worry. I'm going to play so stupid.
Rachel's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And then
I literally said to him, I was like, "I did everything wrong.
No, that was
I'm
the
wrong
second
in
guy we walked past. When we were walking, he was like, "You have to go to the front car." He was like, "I bet I know where you're going. You need to be in the first car." And we were like, "What does that mean?"
Forgive me. I need to go see Taylor.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know. We made it though.
That's all that matters.
It is. And then the next day we made it to a supernatural convention because, of course, one was happening. When isn't one happening, apparently, in the world somewhere? And we got to see Tricia. Hi, Tricia.
Hi. That was so fun.
That was really fun. I spotted Tricia coming down the escalator, and I pointed at her, and she pointed at me, and we just booked it at each other with super slow-mo running. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I love you, but I run for nothing.
I didn't really run either, but I made us sound
No,
good.
it was. You're right. It was like slow-mo running. We're like, we know we want to do this.
It's true. It's very true.
We're getting there eventually.
Yeah, why not? Listen, one day. All right. Why have you gathered us here today, Lauren?
I think that we should talk about Gilmore Girls. Personally, in my opinion.
Why? Because you love it so much.
It's my favorite show.
I would love to talk about Gilmore Girls.
That's why Tricia's here.
Oh my God.
Tricia came to us after last year and
Gilmore
was like,
Girls.
"Oh my God, you guys are the only podcast I will ever do. You're so professional and well-spoken, and just the conversation is off the charts. Please invite me back." So we were like, for you, Tricia, you are an honorary host of the show. Tricia gets to demand any show that she wants, which is why I spent a month and a half watching 7 seasons of Gilmore Girls.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't rewatch it quite in depth.
No, you did not.
To that degree,
I remember rewatching it, being like, "Are you ever going to turn this on?" And you being like, "Yeah."
I had to watch Ted Lasso for the previous episode,
but you didn't start that until like a week before we needed to do Ted Lasso. I started watching Gilmore Girls in April. Okay,
I have shit going on. Yeah. So what happened is I've seen the show before. I watched all of it kind of obsessively while pregnant, and I remember it really pretty well. And so I just watched a few episodes here and there, things that I was like, on, and it all came rushing back. Like, I'm fine. I remember. You remember.
Nah, I was the only one here who'd never seen Gilmore Girls. I don't know. I think I've said on the show before, I never watched real TV until like high school, and it was over at that point. So I was still like, I have 2 younger brothers. I was on like the Disney Channel movie Kim Possible.
When did Gilmore Girls end?
Like 2007 or 8, something like that.
Real? I was done with high school too. Damn. All right.
Yeah, me too.
Huh. Yep, that was a Netflix watch for me.
I was
I never
in 8th grade in 2008, so.
I was in high school, but it's not something that I ever, I don't know, I didn't like gravitate towards it. I liked either comedies or weird horror shows.
Right.
It was like what I always thought was just like a heartfelt family type show.
I am glad that I've watched it now. It feels like it's like a cultural touchstone or staple that I should have in my brain and now never need to see again.
You've acquired knowledge.
Yep. I got everything I needed from that show.
She downloaded it all. But Tricia, you love Gilmore Girls.
I love Gilmore Girls. I started watching it. Well, actually, it's what made me start watching Supernatural. So I know everything always goes back to Supernatural,
Jared
but I loved Jared in Gilmore Girls.
You know, I just completely forgot that. I was like, was it on before it or something?
Yeah, how did that happen? Yeah, and so it was funny because when I started watching, I watched Gilmore Girls and then Supernatural, and then when I switched to Supernatural, then I kept calling Sam Dean because I was used to him being Dean first.
Yeah.
So I'd always keep saying like Dean, not Dean, is what like he was known as in our house.
Dean.
Yeah. So that was my first introduction to it, and then I have watched it several times since then. So I've probably watched the whole show through 4 or 5 times. The last time I watched it was within the last 6 months or so, and I watched it with my kids. So it was something that we would just have on. Yeah. My cat's attacking my headphones. It was something
Cat's like, I like it too.
Yeah.
How come I like it?
Is it Logan?
No, it's actually the only one who doesn't really fit in. It's Patrick.
He's upset.
Yeah.
Talk about me.
His feelings. He's like, do a Schitt's Creek episode.
Yeah. Yeah, the kids both really liked it. They were both big Luke and Lorelai shippers. Devastated when they had the little break. Well, they broke up several times along the way, but the last breakup, they're devastated about that, and then very happy that they got together at the end of what was the original finale.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that finale. So this show, basically nobody learned anything and nothing happened. And then they did the reunion and they just like reiterated that, but harder.
I think.
Why?
Well, look, Lauren and I are not Rory lovers, so Tricia will be your Rory defender, I think. Am I right?
Yeah, but they didn't do anything for. I like Lorelai.
Now, for me, I think Lorelai grew very much over the course of the show. I do. I really do. I think she's probably the only one who displayed.
I don't think anything happened to her though. Like she didn't.
It's not that kind of show. Like
I know, but like if the show ended where it ended in season 7, it was like she still never got married. Like that was her whole hang up, that she was like, I'm never going to be good enough to be married. And then the show was like, you're right. Bye. See y'all in 10 years.
Maybe the lesson is that she never needed to be, or like.
But that wasn't what they were saying through her.
For me, the trajectory of her life and like everything she wanted to accomplish and do, like she figured it out and she grew as a person and stopped that Christopher bullshit. And from what I remember, she ended up in an okay place with her parents, like fine. Like they were all right. I don't think she'll ever really want to be besties with them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of growth there for sure.
Yeah.
With Lorelai and her parents.
Rory to me is another story. Now, these are the 2 main characters, so they're probably the 2 that we're going to spend the most time talking about. But Tricia also requested to sort Rory's 3 love interests.
And we're going to do Luke because I told Rachel we weren't doing Luke because Tricia didn't name Luke and she went, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's like, we're doing it anyway.
Yeah, she said, well, I'll be doing Luke, so you guys can join me if you want.
Awesome.
Now, Luke barely grows, but he doesn't need to because he's perfect. So
There's nothing wrong with that man.
nothing wrong with Luke. We love Luke. But we should, I mean, okay, now I said at the beginning that I was going to be professional and do things according to the way Lauren initially scripted out that we do things. But now I don't remember how to do that. So
we don't need to anyway because Tricia's been on the show before. So
Perfect.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm a professional.
Tricia is
and
a
I knew that I was
Ravenclaw
testing
for
her.
anybody who is not a good fan and did not remember that fact.
Yeah,
Good
go
job.
back and listen to the other 2 episodes Trisha's on, and then
She
come
only
back
did
to
one
this
other
one.
episode, Rachel.
You weren't on both episodes of Friends? What the heck
Oh,
were
that's
you
right.
doing?
We did do 2 episodes
did
of Friends.
too.
Yeah, but we did them in a row, so it was like one long episode
So
that we
she was
cut
on
in
2
half.
episodes. She was on 2.
I thought
She's
we
using my
recorded
memory against
twice.
me.
I think we recorded 2 in one sitting.
Could be.
Yeah.
We may have done so.
We're
It
crazy.
makes sense
while
that
ago.
we
Yeah, it
would
was last
go
February,
really
last
long.
January probably. Because it came out in February.
Wow. Dang. Well, anyway, we're not here to talk about Friends, unfortunately. But if you will recall, Tricia is, as mentioned, a Ravenclaw. So they're our most frequented house on the show as guests, I believe. Right? Up to this point?
Yes, I think
Yeah, your
so.
house is super popular.
Ravenclaws
Tricia.
and Hufflepuffs. We've only had one of the Slytherin, which is, 2, I guess. But that wasn't to sort. That was just to introduce
Mhm.
the nerds are typing.
Yeah, you guys are the popular kids.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you get like typecasted as the nerds, but you're actually super popular.
I have
Popular
it
to be nerds on our show
Yeah.
with us.
Yep. So you win. But so the way it's going to work is Tricia sorts first, correct? Are we gonna
Yes.
do it that way?
That is how we do
All
it
right.
with guests. Good
So we'll
job,
keep
Rachel.
The shit sorting.
We've only done, like,
format.
20 guests in
Do
our
we
lifetime.
do it that way
Yes.
with regular guests? and
Yes.
not- well, I'm so used to when a guest comes on, it's shit sorting.
No.
Yeah, I'm really used to that.
Meg and Carla never shit sort with us. We always make them go first and we make
Yeah,
faces.
they just shit sorted the cleaning lady with us. What are you talking about?
We always make them go first and we make faces.
I'm saying the last a ton of episodes where we've had guests, it's been a shit sorting episode in some way or
Fine.
another. So I'm following the template of that. So Tricia's going to be in the hot seat. Just kidding. You can say whatever you want. There's no judgment. And you can kick us off with whatever character you think you want to sort first and give us your reasons for what you think.
Be aware that I might go Bella Swan levels on Rory. So,
I'm ready.
Which I loved. It was
Want to
great.
knock Rory out and just go first? With
I don't
Rory?
know. She
Oh
might
my
take
God.
like 2 hours.
I don't care. Yeah, let's dive right in. Let's go with Rory.
Let's go.
Okay. I think Rory's a Ravenclaw. And I think it's because she wants to make logical decisions.
She wants.
I like how you're
Like,
being
sure
really
does
careful
want
with
to.
your words. She's like, she really wants
Yeah.
to. Does she?
Like she does. She has her whole like pro con list. Like that's like her thing when
Right.
she's trying to make decisions, and like she
Yeah.
really thinks it through. And then I think she tries to do what feels most logical at the time. I don't think that it's always actually the most logical thing, but I think that she tries to put logic first before everything else. That's
Fair.
my big reason for Ravenclaw.
All right, that's a good reason. You got anything else?
That's
That's Rory.
That's the gist.
That that's fine. You don't need to write a whole dissertation about it. But like she's like, I decided this, and so it is because she is this way. That's all we do here, man. You nailed it. That's literally all we do. Cut her a check.
Are we paying people now?
Lauren,
Yes.
only me.
are you
Yeah,
ready?
only Tricia gets paid. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah,
ready.
true. Big agree, Tricia.
Mm-hmm.
Big agree.
It took me a little bit.
Yay!
When was it? Around season 4, Rachel, that I was like, oh. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. I was like, Rory's a Ravenclaw. I was like, but she's one of the very few types of Ravenclaw that I fucking hate. That I would not get along with ever. ever.
And I like about her that, like, as much as I think that she's logical, like, she, like, makes up her own logic. Like, it doesn't, like, it's not necessarily logical to us, but, like, to her, like, I'm going to go right for the jugular. The fact that she slept with Dean while Dean was married, she justifies that as being logical because to her, it's her Dean.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, with you guys, you typically have a system or, like, a truth that you use to navigate through life. And where did we land on? I know for Rory, I am a big believer in she's just constantly trying to emulate her mother. That's a huge part of who she is. And her personality is so different that it's, like, wild to watch her follow that trajectory because I'm like, Rory, you are nothing, like, you're not like her in that way. Like, you can't be doing these things.
Yeah.
But where did we land on what her system was? I don't remember now.
I don't know. I don't know that I agree that she's trying to be like her mother. I think Rory, and I mean, this isn't all Rory's fault. It's Lorelai's fault too. But I think Rory's system, especially in the way that she was brought up, is that I have to be better than my mother. You know, like my mother,
true.
but better.
There's definitely some of that in there. Yeah, it's my mom, but elevated about that. And that is
Next
her grandmother
level.
And grandfather's fault and her mother's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like, her mother sets that for her from 3 years old to go into Harvard. Like, be better than me, do better than me. But also we're besties. So, like, I'm cool and you're going to want to be like me. And Rory's just not like her.
Right. And Tricia's right. The problem with that is that Rory decides that anything she does is better than her mother by virtue of her being her. So, like, she's like, yeah, I can cheat on Dean with Jess and then I can go back to Dean and I can make the whole town believe Dean is a pariah by literally not saying a word about the fact that he broke up with me because he said, I love you. And I just fucking stared at him like, oh my God, I didn't expect that after a year of dating and us being like glued to the hip together. And he gave me a fucking car. And then he said, I love you. And I was like, I don't know what to do with that. You have to give me time to think, Dean. And then he broke up with me and I was all sad about it and totally surprised and shocked. Where did that come from? And when the entire town was like, Dean broke your heart, I just sat there quietly and I let them fucking ostracize this 16-year-old kid who has nowhere to go.
I think one of the big giveaways when I was when we decided to do this show, I like thought back to my original watch and I had to think like what house are they? And I landed on Ravenclaw Rory specifically because of how she handles emotional situations like that. She's very uncomfortable with them.
She does. And she always, if anybody ever comes at her, she's like, you have to give me time to think. And you're like, think about what, Rory? Like, respond. It's an immediate,
how you feel.
It's an immediate response. You love him or you don't. Like, and you know, and you
I think it's okay to ask for space, but it's like,
but she didn't even say that.
It happens.
Yeah, she didn't even go, I need time to like gather my thoughts. She was like, why would you tell me that? Like, of course he's gonna break up with you. You really hurt him.
She really doesn't know how to deal with it, and I think it's such a great like side by side comparison of her and her mother. Her mother's feelings just pour and ooze out of her. Like she says everything that's in her head, and Rory is like, I want to be like my mom, a better version of my mom, but like I love and adore my mom, right? And she's exactly the opposite. She's a closed door. And I do think that's why she's such a, like, first of all, she's beautiful, right? So all these love interests are like immediately like, hello, you're brilliant and gorgeous and yes. But then they get to these points with her where they hit a wall and they're like, speak, answer the question. And she's like,
be a human.
I gotta go. Bye. Welcome home. She just fucking runs off.
And
she can't deal with it.
I don't know if it's because she's close. She is so, I don't know if it's, she is so shady. Like, I don't know what else to, like when she kissed, I don't know, for Chad Michael Murray. And then she like was like, don't tell Dean that we kissed when we broke up. It's like, bro, you just gotta like, you gotta work through these things. You can't be like, don't tell him that we kissed.
You know
and
what
like,
really like showcases her just everything we're talking about is her conversation with Jess after the summer when she comes back and sees him in the grocery store. And he's like, what, do you have a problem with me being with Shane? And she's like, I don't have a problem. I don't care. And he's like, are you still with Dean? Why does that matter? She's like, she won't answer the question directly. And he has to literally pull teeth to get it out of, like, just say it, girl. And he's like, well, did you call me? Did you message me? Did you write me? Did you do anything? And she's like, no. Oh, well, no. I didn't. Like, it's very
you're just supposed to fall at my feet. Like, what? I'm not supposed to try for things. Like, things just happen for me.
My favorite thing about talking about how Rory deals with these emotions is knowing that I deal with my emotions in exactly the same way. So, like, my number one coping skill is to pretend my problem is not existing. Like, literally,
It'll
I'm
just
like,
work
okay,
itself out for me.
like, we're not going to think about this right now. It's not a problem. And then, like, when I have the emotional capacity to actually deal with it, then I will deal with it. But, like, I am just like that. I need...
But
she, like, lives...
Like,
she,
do you communicate at all that you need the time first?
Yes.
She does.
That's good.
See, that's good. She lives in Rory world. And, like, again, this is, like, facilitated by her mom and her grandparents in the entire town. But, like,
absolutely.
Like, she is totally cool with it. She's like, yeah, it's Rory world. And when I decide to pull you into my world, you will come. And you will act the way that I want you to until I discard you. So it's like...
You remember Lorelai saying Rory's used to getting what she wants.
Yeah.
It's like...
And everybody's, like, totally normal about this. And this isn't something that they need to fix. They're just like, that's just
Rory's
Rory.
the baby. She's the forever
but she's
baby
also,
of
they're
everyone.
like,
She's like the town
Rory's
princess.
the smartest person in the entire world. So whatever she's doing must be the right way to do things. And we're all crazy. You know? And it's like...
Exactly. Yep. That's what Rory thinks.
Oh my gosh. The very big Ravenclaw moment for her. Like, everything she did infuriated me. But, so Rory, like, she shows up on screen and she's going to Harvard, and it turns up as an Ivy League. But she's going to an Ivy League school. She's going to be a journalist. And she's going to change the world through her journalism. So she gets that fucking internship through, you know, Logan's dad, through nepotism, basically, at the newspaper. And Logan's dad tells her, like, I don't think you're a very good writer, and I don't see you flourishing in this role or whatever. You're really good at responding to needs and, like, looking out for needs. So I think you'd be an good assistant, but you're not a go-getter. Like, I didn't see that in you. And instead of, like, taking this as I would, as, like, a challenge to be like, fuck you, I'll show you, she decides to drop out of Yale. And it's just like, my life is over. And, like, totally cuts herself off from her mom and is like, everything that I wanted to do for the entire, like, she's like, I'm not even going to try anymore because it wasn't handed to me and now I have to work for it. Sounds gross. So she's like...
It's like the first time, like, somebody told her, like, no, you're not good enough.
And she didn't respond and I think there are plenty of Ravenclaws that would have responded correctly. Rory just happens to be in this specific subset that, again, I would not get along with. But that was her response to, like, her truth being challenged, was to totally shut down and to be like, well, if you think that this is wrong, then fine, I'll show you how wrong it is, and just, like, totally not go for it anymore.
It happened a little bit in the car with Jess too. I remember he said to her, like, oh, you want to be a journalist? That's surprising because, you know, you're going to go to other places and see all this danger and whatever. And he's like, no, I don't really see you as the type to be amongst that and be cool with that, whatever. And she was like, oh my God, maybe I'm not. What have I been doing my entire life? What is all of this for? And it's like,
well, I mean, they were all right because she ended up back in Stars Hollow as the editor of the paper, not getting paid. So, like,
it's funny because, like, as much as those seemed like emotional responses, like, oh no, someone said I'm not good enough, so I'm not good enough. Like, you could also argue that it's logical just because she's simply believing the fact that, like, somebody in that position, like Logan's dad, like, he knows his shit. And so he said she's not good, so she must not be good.
It's all whatever. The truth is what you make it in your house. So it's whatever line of thinking she follows. You're absolutely right in what you said before. It's logical, no matter what, because it is illogical to her. She has defined it that way.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
She's not an emotion. There's no way.
Like we say all the time, like, Ravenclaws cannot stand hypocrisy in others and in themselves. That's why their system changes when they reach the point that they're like, I can't live like this anymore. But again, Rory is so much of that Ravenclaw that I don't like, where they're like, whatever I say is the truth is the truth. So Rory can be hypocritical because she just refuses to acknowledge that it is hypocrisy. Like, when she writes that article about the privileged people at their school, and Logan is like, what the fuck? She's like, you're straight up wrong. Like, she's like, I'm not, you know, I'm a poor, impoverished girl who grew up with no food in the house. So I don't want you talking to me like that. He's like, you went to a fucking private high school and you go to fucking Yale and it's all paid for. And all you have to do is go to dinner with your grandparents once a week. And she's like, I didn't choose that, Logan. I didn't. That stuff just happens to me. I'm not privileged. Like, that's what privilege is, Rory.
It's like whenever there's an emotional reaction or something that she does that's completely bonkers, like with the yacht or just with anything like that, I feel like she's trying to channel her mother. And then when she actually when you actually see how she naturally reacts to the situation, when she books it and runs, That's exactly who she is. That's a great display of her.
You
house
could never be Lorelai.
No, she's not like her mother.
She's not. She's like, and then she doesn't understand why Lorelai gets upset with her too, when it's like clear that the thing has been all along that she's supposed to be better than Lorelai. She's like, why are you mad that I had sex with a guy who has a girlfriend? Or why are you mad that I stole a boat and am being federally charged for a crime? You would do stuff like this. And Lorelai was like, yeah, the whole point the reason that I left my life was so that you wouldn't be doing shit like this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And the fact that, oh my God, I don't understand why the show just kept having her cheat on people. And it was like totally fine. I was just like, that's Rory. Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, why? Why? That's an awful human being. And it's hypocritical. Like it's
bad.
And they brought the show back 10 years later and it opens with her cheating. I'm like, what is happening? Not only on her cheating on her, like you could argue the show is like her boyfriend, like they made a whole joke about how she can't even remember her boyfriend because he's so like forgettable or whatever. So that can be like, oh, she wasn't really cheating because he was forgettable. But Logan was cheating on his fiance with her and she knew that all along. Yeah. So like,
because what Rory is used to getting what Rory wants. And here's the thing about all three of them, on some level, she still will always want all three of them. I don't think any of the three are her real, true, great loves because it would block out other people around you. Like you wouldn't still be trying and pining for your high school boyfriend in the grocery store. You wouldn't be like talking to Jack. Like it wouldn't happen that way.
Rory's
because
always
for Luke and Lorelai, look how different that is. When she gets with Luke, there's no more fucking about with Christopher and whatever. I mean, at the end of it all, you know what I'm saying? Like it blocks out other people for you because it's a mature, realized kind of love. I don't think she gets that with any of the three. Now we all have our favorites of the three and who we'd like to see her with. And that's fine, but
I don't think I think Rory is forever and always one of the, and again, I think this might be Ravenclaw, is one of those people that's like, there might be something better out there for me. So she's just going to keep like looking for it instead
That's why she said no to his proposal she was like, I like having all of my options open. The world is open to me. And then she ends up right back where she started
with a baby that she's never going to tell him about, which also pissed me off, but whatever. Like, whatever.
Yeah, he
deserves to know.
I never thought about whether or not I thought she would tell him.
I don't think she's gonna tell him.
So she's gonna use
like he's married and I don't want to drag him into the.
This show does weird shit with babies. Okay, with like Luke's long lost daughter, Lane's kid. Like what? I don't know.
The Lane. We're not even going to talk about Lane, but I have to throw in really quick how disgusted I was with the fact that Lane was horrified of being pregnant, did not want to be pregnant. I guess this is Rory. And Rory, instead of being like, there are options that you can explore if you really, really don't want to have a baby, was like, you'll do great as a mom. And that was like, deal with it, Lane. You're pregnant.
It's her way of being supportive, which is bizarre.
See,
because
Rory was such a weird-ass friend to Lane. Like, such a weird friend. She would disappear for, like, weeks. And then Lane would just be there for her.
With Paris is much more
Yeah, but Paris could hold her own. That's because Paris
but I'm saying they're honest together.
Right.
It's like,
well, it's because they both actually
like,
hated
you push
each
me
other.
because I want to beat your ass.
Yeah, they both actually hated each other.
Yeah. It's different. It's very different because
Paris was a different house
think about
than
what house Lane is in. But I would imagine it's one that's more emotional than the one Paris is in.
I can tell you what house both those girls are in. We don't even have to talk about them.
Do it.
All right. Well,
Lane's a Hufflepuff and Paris is a Slytherin. So
yeah. So the kind of friendship that someone like a Hufflepuff needs is not necessarily what you're going to get from the specific kind of Ravenclaw that Rory is. And Rory is also still very young.
Lucky for her, Lane is the specific type of Hufflepuff that is just willing to wait for people to come back and like notice them. So,
That's sad.
It is sad. It's really sad for Lane. I felt she had the worst storyline. I'm sorry.
She did.
But anyway.
She did.
The guy she ended up marrying came out of nowhere. I was like, what is this?
I just like think of like the girl who like wanted to be like a drummer and like a punk and a rebel. Like ends up the housewife with she have 3 kids, 2 kids, whatever.
She had twins, and I liked the guy that she dated before her husband, the guitarist who was pretending to be like churchy, so her mom would like her.
Yes.
And then And then
like,
the show, he went to college. I
know, but
and they
why
were like,
did they write
"Oh no,
that?
we don't know what to do." Maybe the actor left the show. I don't know. But then they were like, "I don't know. We don't know what to do with Lynn. Let's just make her fall in love with this bandmate that she'd never looked at before." I was like,
years ago, I remember reading that Lane is a parallel for Lorelai.
interesting.
The way her life goes follows Lorelai's life way more than Rory's. Like, not what she would originally have picked, but you make it work, and she's very rebellious by nature. Like, there are definitely similarities there. And the way that she treats Lane as kind of forgettable sometimes is sometimes how she treats her mom, too. Like, going to see Jess when your mom's graduating, like, that
pissed me the fuck off.
That was the worst.
I think
I remember telling Rachel about that, and Rachel didn't remember, and she was like, "Wait," because she was like, "Well, as a mother, I think I would be," and I was like, "No, this is what happened," and she went, "What the fuck?" Like,
yeah, I remember it because I didn't remember the plot line of what led to it, and I was like, "Well, if she accidentally missed it, like, why would I hold it against my daughter?"
She was like, she made her mother go to graduation. She's like, "I really want to see you graduate. Like, you have to go, Lorelai wasn't going to do it." And then she decided that day was the perfect day to go down to fucking Boston.
Because you didn't say goodbye to me.
You could have gone the next day. Like, what the fuck?
It's because she gets what she wants. She felt it in that moment. She's like, ooh, have to follow that feeling.
Well,
like,
and she, like, just assumes that everything goes the way it's supposed to go, too.
Yeah.
Like, that's part
She's
of
like,
being
I'll make
young
it.
and dumb.
And if I don't make it, Mom will understand. Like,
that, too.
Mom always understands. Everything
you can tell that Lorelai was totally in the right to not talk to her after she did what she did. And the way that Rory was mad, I was like, girl, you need to do some apologizing and some growing.
Yeah. Her mother busted her ass. Like, and Lorelai made a ton of mistakes. I don't like the I'm your best friend first and then your parent. Like, you have to be the parent first. You have to. And so that type of shit and the levels to which Rory is, like, revered and spoiled has always bothered me.
And, like, whenever
so much of it is Lorelai's fault.
The amount of times that Rory would do something wrong and somebody in the show would be like, or in Lorelai especially, would be like, well, Rory's a little weird like that. Or, like, that's just the way Rory is. And it's like, no, Rory needs a spanking or something. Like, I don't know.
Look, I was a complete dumpster fire of a human being until probably my early 20s too. Like, I get it. You fuck up and you make mistakes and all that stuff. But there were just certain things that I'll say the writers made her do.
But if people excuse them, you don't understand. You don't understand that you shouldn't do them again.
Yeah. The cheating thing in particular is bizarre as a
The conversation that she had when Lorelai caught them after the head sex.
Oof.
Where she was like it was very Ravenclaw the way that she was explaining why this was okay. I was like,
because it followed her life.
And
like
Lorelai was very her house in the way that she was like, no.
Do you hear yourself?
Yeah. And she's like, well, his wife doesn't like treat him as good as I could treat him. Like, girl.
Yeah. Like,
what'd you read from the Homewrecker Handbook?
Yeah, Lorelai's face, like, in that moment was like, oh, Rory. Like, the disappointment
like
here is like
a core memory in my head when I saw that scene, because I was so not used to Lorelai ever looking outwardly disappointed or upset or angry at Rory. And it stuck because I was like, oh, shit, you really crossed the line. Oh, that's bad. You did a bad thing.
But I also felt so bad for Rory because, like, I know. Like, it's just like she made bad choices and everybody knows that, but like you do make bad choices when you're a kid, and this one just like fucking crashed and burned so fast. She went from like on top of the world to like that was the worst decision I could ever make.
I felt bad for
It's
Lorelai.
a series of bad decisions with Rory, like season after season. It's like, whoa.
My brother's girlfriend came home and saw me watching season 4. Or she came to visit, and she has watched the show before. So she had just, like, the cheating stuff had just happened. And she was like, oh, Rory's in her flop era. I was like, the entire show is Rory's flop era. And she was like, you're right. But no, I felt bad for Lorelai. I can't imagine how it would feel to be like, apparently I've raised a child that thinks it's okay to cheat. Like, I would be devastated.
Lorelai should reflect on that, because she did. But
because she did it.
I honestly could have looked back at Rory as a character that I liked, like, or found things to like about her, like little quirky, funny haha things. I could have found so many positive things. I'm sure I could have had her storyline ended differently. And even like prior to the reboot or reunion, whatever it's called, it just felt like, but more specifically after the reunion, that really pissed me off. It was like, you didn't, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? Like, where is the growth? Where is the trajectory? Like, you went in a circle and you keep going in a circle. It's a loop. And I'm like waiting for her to have the moment where she wakes up and like figures shit out for herself and doesn't have Jess tell her what to do, because Jess always swoops in and tells her like, actually, you should be doing this. Or like, what the fuck are you doing? And that changes something for her in her brain and she moves on to the next thing. But like, girl, when are you going to do it yourself? What are you doing? This and the whole thing with with Logan, like, that's fucked. I'm sorry. It's fucked. I don't like it. I don't like it. Not a good ending, guys. You should come back and try again. Do it again. Make me like her. You can still try. Do another season.
I think, like, it would be worth it for me to, like, see her, like, redemption. Like, please show me, like, that everything that her mom did for her wasn't so that she ends up jobless and pregnant with somebody that she's not with and is married to somebody else.
And yet that is what happened.
Right, but, like, fix it. Basically what I was saying. Like, we get Jensen to write the fix it.
Of course, you're supposed to feel like you take something from a show. Like, there's character growth. And
it fucking killed it that she rejected Logan's proposal, but then she's with him when we come back anyway. Like, if you reject his proposal, you're done. Like, you rejected his proposal. That is not the person you. Why are you screwing him?
Relationships are.
Yeah,
they go in a circle. They go in a cycle. She comes back to all three of them. All three of them. There's the moments where she revisits and tries again, and it's just ping pong between these three. And it's like none of them are right for you. Apparently,
yeah. I also think she's always like, well, maybe I can make it work this time. So she's just like,
yeah, but as long as you have your fucking loins are burning for the other guy in the corner while you're with this guy, like, it's not going to work.
But that's always going to be
casual with everybody.
She's never, and I use the word settle, but I don't. Like, she could find a person and it's not settling. But I think in Rory's head, she's like, I'm never going to settle. Like, there could always be somebody that's better out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has a little bit of a problem with finding satisfaction.
God help her child.
So. Got a good grandma. I love Lorelai. I don't give a shit. I really do love Lorelai.
I think she Rory was not raised very well either. So we'll see.
She raised a monster.
She did raise a monster.
She did it from a good place.
Where would you sort Lorelai, Tricia?
Gryffindor.
All right.
Because I think that she is morally righteous. I think that she is convinced she knows what's right and what's wrong, and it doesn't matter what anybody else does. Like, she doesn't marry Christopher because she's pregnant, even though everybody wants her to. Like, she's like, no, this is not the right thing. She leaves her mom to raise Rory on her own because she thinks that Rory would be better off that way. And even when she cheated on Luke, Luke came to marry her and she told Luke that she cheated, even though not telling him would have gotten her what she wanted. Like, I think there's a lot of examples to show that her big thing is that she's morally righteous.
I mean, I will say at the point that she told Luke that she cheated on him, she was being spiteful because Luke was trying to get her back, and she was like, no, we're over. I slept with Christopher.
They were in their hurt each other era.
I didn't think that at all. I thought that she fucking hated to admit it, but that she was just getting it out there.
The feeling I had, she was very in her, I'm hurting Luke because he refused to marry me. And Rachel and I had a discussion about this because I was like, I'm not mad at Lorelai. She broke up with Luke and told him they were broken up and then went to have sex with Christopher. I can be mad about that because she shouldn't keep going back to Christopher, but.
Yes, that is what bothers me about her. That bothered me consistently. Like, you gotta stop going back to this, like, comfort penis. Enough. I get it, but come on. Like, we're well past the point where you should be doing this now. I think it's a little bit of both with her, and I will say, Tricia, that we agree with you.
2 for 2.
She's definitely a Gryffindor. It's a little bit of both. She doesn't lie. Like, she doesn't want to lie. It's also that, like, and that's a very Gryffindor thing. Like, you ask me a question, this is what happened. I'm pissed at you, and this is what happened. So do with that what you want. Like,
well, she was being like, I know that you won't get back together with me, and you need to leave in the god.
You don't want me anyway.
Right. You need to leave me alone. Sorry, I thought Zoom just closed again.
Yeah, so she's from, if you go all the way back throughout her life, Lorelai is, personally, I don't know if people agree with the characterization of her as finding her brilliant. I think she's fucking brilliant. She's very smart, very emotionally intuitive, great at her job, can make anything work, and extremely charismatic. She's phenomenal, right? But she still also makes very stupid ass decisions constantly, right? Throughout her life. But we give Rory some grace for being a kid, or Tricia does, and we respect it. We'll give Lorelai some too. She was 16 and pregnant, and she was with an extremely withholding, cold father and bitch of a mother who I love, but would rather eat glass than have as my mother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
She's hilarious, and I love her, but do not mother me ever. And you're like, I don't want you in my house telling me what to do. I would have done the same shit she did. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You're so annoying. And the rebellious streak is naturally occurring in Gryffindors. Don't tell me what to do. I don't want to do what you tell me to do. And she would have been amazing at it because she can work a room. And she always could. Even in like high society, she can work a room like no problem. She doesn't want to.
Yeah.
So she's not gonna. Like, that's what it comes down to. And then the priority becomes her daughter. And here's where me and her, I'm so aligned with her, like the way you probably see parts of you, especially like as a kid in Rory. I see so many similarities between me and Lorelai, but I just am so adamant about the friend versus mom thing. Like, mom has to come first, and I think that's where she constantly fucks up. Because she doesn't want to be Emily so bad that she veers to the other side and spoils the shit out of this kid.
Yep.
That's what I got.
I mean, I Rachel was saying that the entire time I was watching the show that she was trying so hard not to be her parents that like she went in the completely like she almost circles back to like being her parents again. And she goes so far back. Yeah. But I also think and it speaks to like the Gryffindor too. I think Lorelai was lonely and was just like, now I have this baby and it's going to be my friend because I've got nobody else. It's extremely sad. Lorelai's life is actually really sad. When you look at it, she's got this whole thing where she's like, I'm broke and I can never be married. Even though she has people who want to marry her. She had Max, she had Christopher, and they genuinely wanted to marry her. She had Luke in a weird way, especially even before they dated, where everybody was like, you guys are a little in love. You're refusing to acknowledge it, but you are essentially married and you're acting like it and you're both totally okay with it and supporting it or whatever. But she's got the Gryffindor paradox, right? Where she's like, I don't deserve to be married because I'm so fucked up because of my childhood and like what I did. So like, I can't be married, even though she has all these men that are like, please, please, please marry me. Like, you'd be a really good partner. Like, you have clearly demonstrated that you are a good partner in life and like business, and you are a great conversationalist. And she's just
Mom
like,
skills need work.
and she's and then she's like, I'm not good enough. I can't marry you. And then she goes to her parents and is like, this is your fault. I will say,
if the shoe,
so
a lot of it is their fault.
I never bothered starting their Rory's grandpa.
Richard.
Yeah, Richard. Yeah. But Emily's a Slytherin. And there were some times, because I could relate to some of what Emily was going through when she was like, I can't remember. Oh, Richard didn't like Dean. So he was like harping on Dean or whatever. And then later on, Emily found out that Lorelai got engaged to Max and that Lorelai hadn't told them. And she was like, Richard, go fucking apologize immediately or we won't even hear from Rory when she gets engaged. So you can really see like the regret in Emily that she's like, and there were some points that Lorelai was going off the rails about some things. And Emily was like, I don't understand what I did to you in this specific instance. And I was with Emily. I was like, this is Lorelai's thing that she just took and ran with it. Like she had to run until she was martyred because
everything they did is an affront to her because they don't let her be herself. And so if you have two parents that don't let you be you and don't accept you or acknowledge you for who you are, everything's a problem. Everything they do to you is like, I don't want to use the word abusive. I don't think necessarily that they're abusive parents. But it's neglectful. It's like demeaning. So everything becomes an affront, and you're pissed about it, and she stews with it, and it's even worse when they don't understand. How dare you not get it?
There were moments when Emily was like, "I want to get to know you as you are now, and I want to try with you," and Lorelai would be like, "You can never be my friend."
Okay, but why?
I remember Emily specifically being like, "Why can't we be friends like you are with Rory?" And Lorelai's just like, "Just fuck off, like just get away from." Like Emily really wants to have that relationship
because she meddles and she has a problem with control. You can't go behind your daughter's back. Not to that level, bro. No. She tries to get her married to this one.
Emily is trying to. She wants it so badly that she is trying to make it happen as opposed to letting it happen organically. Yeah. But she does have her moments where she goes and like says what she's feeling to Lorelai and is like, I really want it to. And Lorelai just completely blows the top about it.
Tricia, I always say like Gryffindor house is the most forgiving house. And the way that Lorelai displays that is by even still talking to them because she can't stand them that much, but she still allows them like in her zone. Because another house, if you hated your parents that much, I'm not picking up the fucking. I don't know you. Like a Gryffindor, like they can't. It's so sick and weird.
Bro, and the go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like Lorelai's relationship with her parents reminds me a lot of my relationship with my parents. My parents are not nearly as bad, but I think the disconnect between both of them, especially her mom, Lorelai's mom, and her, is that Lorelai's mom was raised to be this specific way, like.
Yeah.
This is how Emily has to be. And because her mom was before her and her mom was before her, right? This is how you have to be. And then Lorelai came in and is just like, no, like that's not how I am. And like, no matter how much you try to push me into being that, like I will never be that. And that's the way me and my mom are too. My mom wants me to be like the housewife and the like dotes over her children 24/7, never leaves the house unless she's with them. Like the fact that I go on a vacation without my kids is like, the amount of times I hear, oh, I could never do that. I couldn't even do that now. I can't leave you for a week. Like, it's just two just very different people who will never see eye to eye on a lot of things. And so that's the problem is that Emily always wants Lorelai to just do this and be quiet. And Lorelai is like, no. And so it's constant butting heads.
And it's probably very irritating for Emily to watch her daughter be good at it. Like, Lorelai could do it. She could very easily be the high society daughter that she wants. She just doesn't want to do it, and Emily can't understand it. A lot of it's like generational cycles repeating, right? And Lorelai's the one to break it. But that's got to be difficult for Emily.
Emily starts getting frustrated too at like Lorelai comes to them at first to ask for money for Chilton, right? And then it's money for Yale, and like Emily is like, I just want to see you once a week, and this is Emily's way of like making sure that she can connect with her daughter and her granddaughter, because the way that Emily's mind works is that now she can't get her daughter to spend time with her unless she coerces her because her daughter doesn't like her. So she has that firmly in her mind. Like, my daughter will not ever love me, so I have to find a reason for her to spend time with me or whatever. Which I don't think Lorelai makes any effort to, like, dispel. Like, she's not really quiet. True. So but Emily and Richard will do things like they tried to buy her like a whole ass fucking house. They try to do things for her, and then Lorelai is like, fuck off with your gifts. And Emily's like, I don't know what to do.
It's like differing love languages almost.
Almost.
Right? Like the Gilmores just want to like give her everything, and Lorelai's like, no, like the point of my life is that I'm working for it myself. How do you not get this?
Yeah, they tried to give her money for, like, the spa expansion or whatever, and Lorelai, like, spits on it, and they're like, what? And then she ends up taking it anyway. So it's, again, where the show totally doesn't follow through with she takes it in the reunion. The first time that I was like, oh, Lorelai. So, again, this was just in the reunion, is at her father's funeral when she says that awful, awful stuff about him. And I was like, oh, dear. Oh, yeah. Her mom had a right to be really upset with her about that.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm noticing that I'm a Lorelai defender and that I don't have a problem with most of the things she does, except for spoiling the shit out of her daughter because I don't like her daughter. That's the only reason I think she's wrong.
What is the defense for what she said about her dad at the funeral?
Her dad was a cold withholding dick to her whole life in her formative years, so fuck you. Like, that's my argument. That's
but
it.
He
You're not buying
wasn't
my
constantly. Like she then told a story where he was, and we saw when she like the first time they invited Christopher over to the house and she was sneaking out the window and her dad was like, I didn't see you, and like left her. So there were moments where he was like,
you want me to get poetic? He never saw her. Like that. That's a problem.
I think Richard and Emily were both kind of victims of their social standing and generation in a way, but that does not excuse them. But
I think Richard did get to see Lorelai. Like, I don't think that he did at first, but especially when like she helped him set up her new office, his new office. Like, I felt like there was like a real moment of understanding there, where like he was like, "Oh shit! Like, you know how to do this stuff."
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, duh. And if you knew me at all before, you would have already known that. Like, it's too little too late. And I think this is what people probably struggle to understand about Lorelai, because they want her to be like, just like be understanding. They've done a lot for you now. Like, you've come to a different place. Like, you don't forget the shit that happens to you in your formative years that really fucks with you, to the degree that it really messed with her and changed the trajectory of her life and the way she raised her kid and the things she did in her life. Like, there's just some things you can't get past. And especially in highly emotionally charged situations like a funeral, sometimes your worst side's going to come out. Like, I can't say that it was the right thing to do, but I can understand it. I can understand it a little bit. So,
yeah. Pretty good defense. I'm impressed.
Thanks. Like, I kind of just I view certain things in my life the same way that I know Lorelai views certain things in her life. There's certain things I cannot get past, and relationships that I can't, like, I would do the same shit. I'd be like,
I'm from a little different, because I think Emily and Richard expected things from Lorelai that she didn't want to do, so she fought against that, which is fine and totally her right. And they fought against her fighting against that because they wanted her to be a certain way. But I don't think what they expected out of Lorelai were bad things or things that she couldn't do. So I don't know. I think it's just
not at all. They're just things.
I think it's just a lot of resentment that came out of stuff that wasn't even necessarily like bad. That resentment just built between two groups of people who kept hurting each other because they didn't understand each other.
Hurt people, you know what they say, they be hurting people.
Is that what they say?
Deep.
That's what they say. Dean,
we're doing Dean next? You want to do Luke?
I think she was talking to her cat. No.
People be hurting people. Dean Winchester.
I said deep. As in, like, that was
my bad.
deep.
Like the character from The Boys. That is a famous saying of his.
Yes.
From his best-selling autobiography.
Well, let's detour then to the first boy.
No, let's do Luke.
Oh, yay! Go ahead.
I didn't do Luke.
Think about him really quickly. Think? Just say it from your gut.
I kind of want to say Slytherin.
Wow, why?
Interesting.
Because everything that he does for, like, him and the people that he loves the most.
Oh, his circle. You viewing it like a circle of people.
Yeah. Because, like, he does his diner thing because that's what he wants to do. And he takes in Jess even though, like, it's an inconvenience for him, but it's because it's his inner circle, like, and the things that he does for Rory too, like, he does a lot for her. So I feel like everything that he does, like, services those people.
I will tell you, I think that's the only other house that an argument could be made for. It's just not where I think he is.
Where do you think he is?
That man's a big old Griffin. And the inconvenience you mentioned of Jess and even like April, whatever,
responsibility.
It's just responsibility. He doesn't want.
He doesn't actually want them there. When they're ready to leave, and they're like, I can handle myself. He's like, great, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and I think his love language is just, maybe it's acts of service. And so I think that's how he's always fixing.
Yeah, he's always fixing.
Always. But also for everybody else that comes around. And yeah, he's a grumpy grouch about it, but like, you know, you can rely on him. He's gonna go friggin' do it. But he's just so funny, like with his baseball caps and whatever. He always wears that baseball cap, and then Lorelai gives him a blue one, and then it's the only one he wears because she gave him the blue baseball cap. And then I think, oh my god, I saw a TikTok where they're like, and then when they break up, he switches to a black one because he's in mourning. He He's so literal, bro.
Yeah.
It's a Gryffindor problem to be
but
that
then,
literal.
like, it ends up that he didn't switch on purpose. He lost the hat, right?
Yeah, I don't remember anymore. It's just like
it's
so funny how it worked.
It was lost behind the dishwasher.
But like that's the whole
So it
reason
wasn't
where
even a
like they
thing.
end up like getting back together or whatever, like getting to the next step of like after the breakup is because she thinks that he might have feelings for her again because of the hat, but like the hat was actually nothing. Like
I think
he didn't even remember.
A lot of people, lot of Gryffindors have like their thing, right? Like Dean has his car and like whatever, whoever, you know what I mean.
Captain Hook has a ship.
It's his diner.
Well, his diner was his fucking dad's.
Luke's is his diner,
and that was a huge thing. It was his dad's.
Yeah, and every year, the anniversary of his dad, the day his dad passed, he has to like black out the diner.
Here's a special
like,
day.
The dark day.
Yeah,
it's my dark day.
And he's got his
the day where I'm allowed to feel
his boat
talk to me.
in his car or in his garage for however many years. Luke also loves fighting with people. Like he loves fighting with Taylor. Loves it.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
It's like the highlight of his day.
Is that a Gryffindor thing?
Great. Yeah. To love to
I did
fight.
not know that one.
They just
it
like
makes sense though.
Yeah. When you, I mean,
he even fought like the high school kid.
Yes. And when those kids came and asked him to like sponsor their soccer team, and he was like, no.
Yes.
And then 2 seconds later, he was buying out like all of the jerseys from his buddy and was going to the games and screaming at them. And and he was like, and Lorelai was like, he bought them caps. And Lorelai was like, you don't wear caps in soccer. And he was like, oh, I just think they'll look cute. Like, he's like, I don't understand why. I think it was actually pretty stupid that he had to hang up about having a kid with Lorelai. I didn't think that made sense.
That was so out of character for him.
Didn't think that made sense at all.
Isn't that like actually thing in the show where they switched showrunners?
So the last season they didn't have two of the original showrunners, but then in the reunion, the original it was a husband-wife team. The wife came back for the reunion, so it was the reunion that he was like, "Never mind, I don't want to have a kid," which I thought was weird. Yeah,
his whole thing with the daughter and how he treats Lorelai with it and everything. It's if I have to argue it for Gryffindor, it's because it's like it's an identity crisis. Now he has to reframe who he is. Now I have to add father into that. And
he tells Lorelai, which made total sense to me, that he was like, the second she meets you, she'll like you better. Like that's like Luke's thing, right? He's like, I'm not personable. Nobody like actually likes me. They like me because of who I hang out with, which is so funny for him. And again, the Gryffindor paradox, because it's like these people that you think are awesome hang out with you because you're awesome. But he like is not getting it. He's like, everyone around me is awesome and I'm not awesome. You're like, Luke, all these awesome people love you. That makes you awesome. But he tells Lorelai he doesn't want her to meet April, because he's like, the second she meets you, she'll like you better than me, and then like I won't have these moments with her anymore, which made sense to me coming from a Gryffindor. But then it was just weird.
Yeah,
that he wouldn't,
because his
ex-girlfriend got weird about it. Like her personality changed real weird fast.
Yeah. I kind of get it, because it's like introducing Lorelai to someone, they're going to fall in love with her immediately. And I get that, like, you want to give your kid time to fall in love with you first. And Lorelai's going to be like, she's going to light up the room. Like, that's what she does.
She's a big personality.
Huge. So it's difficult. Like, I kind of get where he's coming from, but I do also think it's a little bit of a writing error there to have made it go so in that direction. But what are we going to do? It's canon. So we have to argue for it. What are we going to do?
Yep.
But I'm glad we impromptu sorted him.
I don't know. One of the things that I didn't talk, like that was a big thing in their relationship and like how Gryffindor that they both are is those, like Lorelai never said how much it was bothering her that she didn't get to meet April. Like she never told him. And she like kind of expected him, like, and it was so funny because she kind of expected him to like figure it out. And Luke's mindset was like, if she's not saying anything, she's okay. Or if I go, like, are you okay with this? And she says, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, all right, I take that at face value.
Right.
The two of them may be close, like, to the types of Gryffindors they are, because both of them don't want to be an inconvenience, and they both don't want to be indebted to anyone. And it makes them kind of go in a circle. Like, I don't want to inconvenience you with my feelings about this. I don't want to impose myself on you with this. Like, I should be better than feeling this. And then also, like, I don't want to be in debt to you for literally anything. I don't want to owe you anything. And it's like a weird cycle that they find themselves in. They're very similar. The way they think is very, very similar. They're a good match. Don't get me they're my ship of the show. I love them. So I love them together, and they're my two favorites. So
I kept thinking while watching that on Netflix that had I watched Gilmore Girls like live as it was airing with all of the breakups and get back togethers with those two, like I would have lost my shit as a viewer. Like I would have been so mad many times.
Yeah. The angst.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they were a mess, but they made for good. They made for good TV.
It was good entertainment for sure.
Yeah. And I like that, like, it's from the very first start of the show that you kind of start.
They're married, like, when you open up. You're like, they're together.
Yeah, you're like, you're an old married couple. Got it. You're not married. You're not dating.
Every couple in every fic where, like, the two people like each other and all the
domesticity. Yeah.
Yes.
They're perfectly ficky. We didn't get to Jess yet, but just in case I forget to say it, that relationship is also really fanfic-ish, like the way Jess and Rory are, and it's probably why I was so drawn to that pairing, because we'll get into it as we talk about the guys, but just in terms of fanfic, trope after trope on trope on trope, and you're like, damn, this is a fanfic come to life.
I love that shit. I eat that up.
Me too. But I guess we should start with Dean, right?
Yeah,
Dean, I was totally lost. Like, I tried to talk it out with Kyle too, and I was like, every time I thought I had one, I would like think of something that he did that like canceled it out. That I was just like,
he's tricky.
I got nothing, man. I'm eager to hear what you have to say.
Say something. If you were at gunpoint and they were like, pick or emotion.
Logic or emotion.
Ooh. See, that's even hard. I think emotion.
Okay.
Because he'd be blowing up. He gets big mad.
Yes, he does.
That might just be the Jared coming out.
I was going to say, he's like a man toddler.
Yeah.
Like, anytime something doesn't go his way, like, whine.
Tricia, I'm going to tell you, I was, like, watching the show, and I was like, wow, Jared's doing so, like, he's doing well. I don't see Sam at all. I'm like, this is Dean, and I really like Dean. Anytime he would get mad, I was like, Sam! There he is!
Yeah. And, like, not to just totally bash on Jared here for a minute, but I felt like in the reunion when he came back, like he was not Dean.
I mean,
he was Sam.
I told Rachel to be fair to Jared, he went and filmed that in between filming like 2 episodes of Supernatural. Like he ran to the WB set and filmed his 5 minutes and then went back to Supernatural.
It's very clear he's in Sam Brain.
Yes,
it's like Sam in
he's like he's sitting there talking to Rory like, I gotta get back to Dean. Like he's like
and I have to say, he looked very good in that.
Oh, and
I was really happy because I was like, eat shit, Rory. You fumbled the bag.
They would have been so good together.
I think so. I really liked
Dean. Very cute.
I went into this expecting, like, I knew I was going to hate Rory just because of what I heard from the show. But I also went in expecting not to like at least one of her boyfriends because I had heard shit about them too. And Dean especially, I liked all of her boyfriends. I was like, wow, Rory did every single one of them wrong. Like, I don't know.
How dare you make the woman be the problem here? How dare you?
Yeah, I made her be the problem. I'm the one who made her the problem.
Well, okay, so you think he's an emotion house. All right, so I don't agree. I think he's a
Ravenclaw.
I think he's in your house.
Ravenclaw. I don't know that I've ever seen Jared play an emotion house in his life. I'm going to be honest here.
He's an emotional
dude. Which is funny.
And Sam is a Slytherin.
The house that I have Jared in is not emotional, but yes.
It's a righteous indignance, though. Right? It's
you and I think Jared
do that.
Jared carries that into every one of his characters, but again, like you would think a righteous indignance would be
Gryffindor
emotional, but Jared somehow is like, "How dare you did this to me? And this is why you shouldn't have." Let me like in every character, like that's the tone that comes across.
Yeah, and he does that with like.
Yes.
At least as far as the breakups go, like the way he yells at her.
Yes, he's like, Rory, this is what you did to me. Like, this is what you did to my life. This is what has happened to me. Why would you do that to me when I did all of these things to me? Do you understand how much that hurt me? This is why I'm leaving. And then Rory would just be like, Like, she would have no response. You could really see him get her. Like, he was the only boyfriend. Well, Logan would get her in arguments sometimes,
she
too. She
feels immense guilt about Dean, I think.
No, oh, God, yeah. But I'm saying, like, with Jess, at least, she could get mad really easily in response. And, like, he could never, like, catch her. Dean was really good at catching her.
Because she was so obviously wrong with him.
Well, no, but also because he was so, like, their way of thinking was so related in certain ways that Rory was like, wow, fuck. Like, I don't know how to counter this.
Dean, like, really understood her.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, he, like, maybe because he actually, like, hung out with her and her mom, like, I feel like he really took the time to get to know her and, like, knew her on a very real level.
I think so, too.
Wait, there was a whole, like, conversation that I sent Rachel that I was really proud of, and now I don't know if I can find it. It was a long time ago. It was, like, the way that I don't know. It was the way that I just, like, typed out how the whole conversation went with Dean, and it was, like...
Oh, we did a lot of Gilmore Girls talking. Good luck to you.
Yeah, I'm not going to find it.
It's exactly that, because if you were to put him in, like, Gryffindor, right, he would just blow up or shut down. Like, there's no explanation of the feelings a lot of the time with our house, and sometimes with Hufflepuffs too. Hufflepuffs are very, like, justice oriented, but sometimes you're not worth their time to explain to, right? If they're pissed off, I feel like with your house, you need to be heard, and you need it to be like I'm happy to explain to you the ways in which you fucked up, so that you understand. And maybe you grow from this. Like, it becomes a lesson. Yeah. And it's so, the way that he breaks up with her. So that was the big Ravenclaw thing to me. Because I was like, oh, he's making this a teachable moment, bitch. You better learn from this. And every Ravenclaw I know, like, that I've ever been in a conflict with, at a certain point, it flips and it's like, well, you did this wrong because X, Y, Z. Do better. And I'm always left like, okay, Dad, like, okay, Mr. or Miss whoever, like, teacher, like, damn, why are you like that? Leave me alone. I'm not trying to learn today. Yeah. And it's not necessarily preachy or anything. And I think a lot of the times, with real life Ravenclaws, right, because what we have from the source text, we don't got shit. But a lot of the time with real life Ravenclaws, I feel like you guys get bad raps of arrogance. Like, people... A lot of the characters that we put in Ravenclaw, they'll be like, oh, it's an arrogant character. It's not arrogance. It's confidence in what you're saying and in what you believe.
In yourself. Yeah.
It's assurance, absolutely. And in your ability to explain that to other people. And if they don't get it, fuck them. Like, I did my best at teaching it to you. Go into the world and do with it what you will. Yeah. But it's sad because Dean he does all that, right? And then he comes running right back to her because he does love her. It's really sad. Like, I don't know. Do you guys think he ever loved the first wife? Like,
no. I was reading so many people were like, why did he propose to her so fast? I really think for him it was like I don't know if I'm going to find anybody again after Rory. Like it was I think he was kind of like daring himself. You know? Like I can do this. Like cuz we were talking about what is Dean's like system, and I think Dean is just like nice guy. Like, he just wants to be a good guy. Yep. And he wants to be with a good person. And he thought Rory was that. And I think, I know that Rory really, really hurt him. And I think he was kind of like, he had gotten into the idea that he would live in Stars Hollow and he would have a family and it would be Rory. And then it wasn't. And I think he kind of panicked and really quickly was like, I still want that and I can still make it happen. And I don't remember what her name was. Ariel Cabell is the actress's name. She was Stefan's best friend in Vampire Diaries until Damon killed her. Spoilers. But you will see shortly. She's in one episode. But she for whatever reason was like yes right away. So he found a girl that, you know, wouldn't be Rory, like who would settle down with him and like have a family with him. And clearly that, I mean, it didn't work out for him. I don't know that he loved her before. I mean, how they only dated like a few months. I don't know how. And then they immediately had the pressures of being a young married couple who had to buy a house.
Because that's another thing this show does weird.
Yeah.
The young marriages, you had to get young, like deep commitments.
It's like, true.
Whole time. let them grow a little bit. Like, Logan, you don't need to propose to her right now. Like, you just relax.
The patience that, like, yeah, I think, like, Dean wanted to be nice guy, and he really loved Rory, and I think he really, really believed that his life was going to be with Rory, and I think that's the only reason he was able to she did him so dirty when Jess came to town. So, like, the amount of shit that he ignored and was like, you know what? We're going to get past it. Like, we'll get past it because she loves me and it's fine.
That's it. Yeah. That's the problem. Because this is also common in Ravenclaw House. Don't lie to me. Like, at least be honest. Just be honest about it. Because if that's how you feel, if you like him, fine. And she's got him chasing his tail, running around asking Lorelai, like, she likes him, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're humiliating him. And y'all
and
don't
he's
do well
taking
with
it because but he's taking it at the time because he's like, I really
it's like building up.
I know it is building up, but he's also like, I really want Rory. I'm not going to lose Rory. Like, I remember too when he started going for Jess is also when the Sam jumped out. Like when he fought Jess at the house party, when he was like, "Oh, you're Rory's friend." I used to be Rory's friend. Now I'm her boyfriend. Like, he was going for it. He was, like, marking territory. Like, he was being a little petty.
And he did that with Tristan, too, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah. Yep. He was very, like, I am Rory's boyfriend. Rory loves me. And because Rory won't apparently tell you that we're dating, I have to go around telling every boy that she is giving eyes that she's taken because she won't do it. But he was willing to do that. He was like, I will do. If this what it takes to be with Rory Gilmore, I'll do it. He's like, I will. And he integrated himself into that way of thinking and into that system. He's like, I want to be with Rory Gilmore, so I have to go to all these guys who she is not dissuading, and I have to let them know that she's taken, and I have to ignore the fact that she is, like, fingering herself to Jess while we're dancing on the dance floor, and I just have to deal until he reaches the point where he's like, I'm too good for this. What the fuck?
He can't excuse it anymore. Like,
he can't forever.
Nothing.
Like, he was waiting for her to meet him because, again, like, I think Dean really understood Rory, and he was like, I love her. She will get there. She will finally meet me. And Rory just doesn't have that capacity to love people. I
just think she
Rory
bounces around between the same three, that's the problem.
She expects it too. Elsewhere. She's like, of course Dean's obsessed with me. I don't need to do anything to cultivate this because he is. Right. So then it's like, and then she kind of...
And you want me to prove it? I'm going to fuck him while he's married.
She kind of shows it because he breaks up with her the first time and then he comes back to her without her really having to do anything. Like, she just has to start looking at him again. And he's like, okay. Like, maybe this time it'll work. And
he gets to his point, though, where,
it's... I know. And Dean was really because, when Lorelai caught them and Lorelai was like, well, has he broken up with his wife yet? You could tell Lorelai was all concerned about the fact that Rory was going to be the other woman and Dean wasn't keeping his promise or whatever. Like, no, Dean was doing what he said he would do. He was going and telling his wife, like, I'm breaking up with you now. I had sex with Rory. I'm still in love with Rory, blah, 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 blah. Like, Dean was doing what he said he would do. He was very of his word. He told fucking Chad Michael Murray, I'm going to beat your ass. And then he beat his ass.
And then he did.
You're right. Yeah. It's like, you keep trying to antagonize me. I'm going to punch you in the face, man. And he did.
Yeah. He will never tell a lie. I like him. It's a great example, though, of like, your first love and how that it's just not always what the movie's painted as. I think it was a pretty realistic depiction of it, especially even like the lingering feelings of it too for the both of them. Like, they'd see each other again and be like, because it's a big, massive thing when you're a teenager and you're hormonal and you're in love for the first time. It's huge. So I totally understood, like, even in the reunion when she saw him, she was like, whoa. Because, well, he looked like that, but also like,
and also you were my first boyfriend. Yeah, and also he was like successful in what he had decided, and she was not, right? Like, she didn't go out and do the journalist thing, and he was like, I'm married and I have 3 kids, and they're all doing great, and I'm hot as hell, and I love my wife. Fuck you. I was like, she tried. Oh my God, I was so embarrassed for her when they did like the little cornmeal thing at the end. I was like, girl, run. I was like, wow, is he calling you out? Like, but God. Such a mess. Yeah, Rachel, you did send me a text that you were like, I think Dean was only attracted in the parts of Rory that he saw himself in her.
I think so, because I think he was... Look, he wants a successful relationship. That is clearly a humongous goal for Dean. You see it in the rushed proposal. You see it like later how he ends up and he's happily married with children, whatever. That's a big thing for him. So he's looking for the parts of her that he loves. That's what he's looking at. He's ignoring all the little shitty things she's doing or whatever until he can't ignore it anymore. And that's it.
The parts that he is able to find that he's like, will marry me, will have a family. He's like clinging to that. Because he loves Rory. Yeah. He wants it to be Rory.
He really does. Yeah. Would have been if you could have been the one. That's their song.
Is it?
Do you think they would have been though? Like,
no.
Like, Rory never would have been happy with that, right?
She never would have respected him either. She would have. It would have been a continuous cycle of Dean being like,
I'm gonna be honest with you.
It would have been a continuous cycle of Dean being like, I need this from you, and her pushing back at it. Like, I don't gotta try for things until Dean was like, fuck this, and like left. And then he would come back and it would start over. Like, you know, it would just, it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next asshole.
This one was an asshole.
He's my favorite asshole.
He's the only one. He's the only one who did something to her that I was like, okay, yeah, that was bad. I would be upset as Rory. Yeah.
Yeah, Jess definitely had his moment.
Did she not deserve it? So
she did. Yeah, Jess was definitely the meanest of the boyfriends.
Yes. The most damaged.
Yes. I'm gonna go Slytherin again with him.
It's fair. It's fair for her. It's fair for you to say.
I think that Jess is a very. I don't want to say bad things about Slytherin, but he's very selfish. Mm-hmm. So like, he does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants, and in the rare occasion when like he does something for Rory, like he goes to that party with her, like he does it begrudgingly. Like he does it the way he wants to do it at first, where like he does his laps, and then when he's done, like he wants to go now. Like he's done his part. This is no longer serving him, and so now he wants to leave.
I get where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get you. I don't agree with the house. I don't agree. We actually think he's a Gryffindor.
A Gryffindor?
Yes. And
morally righteous?
The way we were talking about Lorelai before, he just does whatever the fuck Lorelai wants.
Trisha, you have to, when you think of morally righteous, you have to remember that not all people's morals are actually right.
Oof.
Yeah, like Ravenclaw's logic.
So they have morals, but not good morals.
Yes, like Anakin Skywalker. He's a Slytherin, but now I can't say the one. Who am I trying to think of, Rachel, that we can't say?
I wouldn't be able to say it. So what?
No, I know. I'm trying to think of another one that we can say.
What exactly you're looking for? Again?
Like a Gryffindor whose morals are like not good, but
Negan.
Yes. Okay. There we go.
Negan's
there you go.
Morals are very not good.
There you go.
He's our most extreme case.
He's very Butcher. I guess
Butcher. I mean, but he's right though. He's just a dick. Yeah. Look, when it comes to Jess, he's from a really he's got it kind of rough at home. His mom really didn't want him around. Whatever. They have a bad relationship. He's stuck in this town. He's just a very emo teenager. When Rory calls him oh, stop with your Kurt Cobain bullshit or whatever, he's very that. And he's like, I could care less about being cool. Yes, you do. You want to be the boy who's reading Catcher in the Rye mysteriously in the corner. Whatever. We all knew that guy in high school. You want to be that guy. But he's also like what I said about Lorelai before, he's very emotionally intelligent. Really emotionally intelligent. And if you notice throughout the show, something I picked up on with him was when Rory's on a poor trajectory, Jess swoops in and tells her, this isn't, what the hell are you doing? Mm-hmm. He's the one who says to her, I'm looking at you and I know you and I'm clocking your shit and I'm telling you, you're doing it wrong. Oh, now all of a sudden she fixes her shit with Yale because of the conversation she had with Jess. Oh, now all of a sudden she's friends with her mom again because of the conversation she had with Jess. Now all of a sudden she's writing a book because of the conversation she has with Jess. He is Mr. Fix-It for her. And I think the two of them are better friends than romantically. I don't think that they are romantically compatible at all. As much as I like him, and they're very fanficky with certain things, I don't think they fit as a couple.
He was very like, I think he's very attracted to like that he can talk to her about books, right? And that they can have like these deep conversations. He's very into that. I think at first he was also under the impression that Rory was like weird, quirky girl, and then she wasn't. She was Miss Town Popular, and he was kind of like, I'm not actually into that. But Jess, like again, Gryffindor thing, does not like himself. And he thinks that he deserves the bad things that happen to him when he, like, you know, Luke really cares about him, and he wants Jess to have like a good life, and he wants to help Jess have that life. You know, when he shows up when Jess is like living in that like hovel apartment in I think it's New York City with like 9 other guys, and they're like all sleeping on the floor. Like Luke wants Jess to come back and like be with him and like, you know, have a place to sleep and get food, and Jess is like, no, like Jess is very like I deserve to be a starving artist, and I'm gonna like earn my dues, and that's what I'm doing. Like it has to be done this way.
It's like Lorelai with her shit with her parents. Like, I have to work for it.
Yeah, but he's also like, since I made this choice, like I made this choice and I deserve it, and like I don't get an easy way out of it. Like, you know, like we're doing this all the way. Jess is oh man, Tricia, I can't. Jess will never not love Rory. The way that they had him,
sick.
The way that they had him come back in the reunion, and Luke being like,
look at her,
and Luke being like, you know, like, are you over that? Because he like saw something, and Jess is like, oh yeah, I was over it ages ago, and he so clearly is not over it. Like he will forever. He will never get married. He for the rest of his life is gonna be like this girl that got away, and you know that he's like, she got away because I was a dick, and I deserve it, and I don't deserve Rory, and I'm never even gonna try again. Because, you know, I fucked it up, right? So that's like Jess's lot in life.
Because he's okay
you got me with that last part.
Yeah, he's okay with her being
insane. It's actually
he's okay
sick.
with the negative parts.
She doesn't deserve it. She doesn't deserve. I deserve a Gryffindor. I deserve one.
I'm telling you right now, Dean would not take her shit negative and all. He would. Jess would.
Dean would be like, you got to change that shit. Jess is like, I will be used. I will be abused.
It's super sad.
He would fucking, if she goes back to him right now with Logan's baby and is like, I need somebody to stay with me and help me, and I feel no romantic feelings for you whatsoever, but I need you to stay in my house and help me, he'd be there in a second.
Yeah, he'll be her Luke.
Yes.
He'll be her Luke.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's disgusting.
Aww. It's disgusting. Sad. I feel really bad for him.
Yeah, but Rory doesn't have the capacity that Lorelai does, who eventually like loved Luke. She never would.
She's intrigued by him like a little pet. He's like a fun little bad boy that she got to have her little rebellious
and she's
shit
like,
with.
oh, so weird. Like, your mom doesn't like you, and neither does your dad. Like, interesting. Like, you know, like, tell me what that's like, because I don't know.
I think
everybody loves me.
He really wanted that to work, but there were places he absolutely did fuck up. Same way there were places she fucked up.
And he accepts it. He did do the thing, like Roy Kent. And like Dean Winchester will do, where he's like he disappears without saying a word, and he thinks that's fine and Nick Miller, he disappears without a word, and he thinks that's fine because he's going off to better himself. And then he comes back and is like, it's okay, now I will show her I'm better. And when he comes back, Rory has a boyfriend, like she's dating Logan, you know, so it's like never gonna work out for him. But he does have that sense of like, there will be a time. I'll come back and she'll be ready for, and it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen for him with Rory.
He's calling her and breathing into the phone just to hear her voice. He's pathetic for her.
I know.
Truly pathetic. It's so sad. But then it's like, she's never gonna give that back to you, dude. Like I keep going back to that conversation after the summer where he's like, where are the letters? Where's the phone calls? Where's anything from you to me? You have no right to be mad right now. You've given me nothing. And then he's over there on the other side like, I just want to hear you breathe. I love you so much. I love the sound of your breath.
She's never going to give him anything.
God. That's what's attractive, isn't it, to him?
Yeah, that is what it's attractive to him. Yeah. And again, I'm going to say again, Rory doesn't deserve it, because that should be what's attractive about Gryffindors, right? You have to do nothing for them, and they're all over you, and you just have to give them the littlest bit of like acknowledgement and love, and they return it back tenfold. And Rory can't even do that. She can't even do that.
She can't, like, I'm telling you, she physically and literally cannot do it. It's not like a character defect where she's deliberately withholding. She just can't. I don't.
She doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand.
No, I don't think she does.
It's like it's a logical.
She's a receiver.
Yeah, it's a logical thing for her. She's like, and again, it's part of her logic, right? That things just come to her. So she's like, I don't understand that I have to reach out to you. Like it should just be there. What do you mean? You know,
right.
like.
But it's not okay when he goes off and doesn't say anything, and then comes back and is like, "Look, I didn't contact you, but I bettered myself. Are you ready?" And she's like, "No, what the fuck?" No. And it's really sad because that look, Milo. How do you say his last name?
Oh God,
Venta. Isn't it Greek? Shouldn't you know this?
I don't know.
I thought it was Greek.
Kyle
I just actually don't remember it.
Ventimiglia or something like that.
Ventimiglia or something.
Ventimiglia.
Milo. The
Milo,
look on his face. That look on his face. That's the shit fanfics are all about, baby.
Yep.
Ventimiglia is how it's spelled.
He sounds Italian.
Yeah, it might be Italian. He played the Italian.
He's my favorite because I really, I don't know. He was like the one of the three that I'd most want to hang out with, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah.
He's not my favorite for her to date.
Of the three, like you're like Team Jess?
If I have to pick a team, yeah.
For and Rory to date,
he gives her in the end.
No, but like the one that you like best, not like you want them to end up with Rory.
Right.
Yeah, he's the one I like best, not the one I want for her, truly. It's not, I don't think they're romantically compatible. I don't. But I like him the best.
He really wanted to be.
I know he did, but he shouldn't get what he wants because it's bad for him. But, yeah, he's Italian, by the way.
No, that
because that bothered me.
that look through the window at the end of the I can't believe they did that to him in the reunion.
I'm putting that face on our Twitter when this episode comes out.
10 years later, this man is still sorry.
He's such a good actor. They were like, "Can you like look longingly at her?" And he looks at her like the most longingly any human has ever looked at a person. Oh my god!
Through the window,
he has that look real good.
Mm-hmm. Where he's like, "No, I don't feel anything for her anymore." It's like.
Killed me.
They got the music going.
Could not be more obvious.
Yeah.
That's the good shit, though.
And Luke is like, "All right, man," and walks away. I forgot to mention this. I forgot this happened. Dean had his bachelor party and got really, really drunk at Luke's. And he was telling Luke how he still loved Rory and he wasn't in love with his wife. And Luke was like, don't tell me. I don't want the responsibility for this. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
He's like, I will not be responsible for this knowledge.
Stop talking. I don't want to know.
No, but that's
the worst when people do that.
But that
don't
screams
tell me shit.
That screams Gryffindor because the Slytherin is like, take that knowledge, file it. I don't feel any need to do anything with it unless it suits me or it like benefits me later on. Luke is like, now I know this, and now I have to do something with it. Now I have to do something.
Yep. Now I'm morally obligated, you son of a bitch. Why did you do that to me? So she's got a Ravenclaw under her belt, and she's got a Gryffindor under her belt. Where do you think Logan falls?
I couldn't figure out Logan either, because I had a hard time figuring out, like, what he wants. Like, I don't even know. Like, it seems like he didn't want what his parents wanted for him. He wanted to earn it on his own, but then he keeps taking the things that his parents are giving him. So, like, I don't even know. Like, it seems like he wanted Rory and they didn't. So then that's ultimately, like, I know they he proposed and she said no, but then she's still in his life. Like, why are they? Like, why is he with
You're
this
just,
other
like,
girl?
confused by the dynamic.
Yeah,
You're like, what? Yeah.
I'm like, what are you trying to do here? Like, I couldn't pick for Logan because I don't know what he's trying to do.
I also struggled with this. Lauren will explain much of Logan.
Oh, I'm excited.
It's very confusing to me.
I love Logan. I understood everything Logan did.
What? Is it? Do you think he's a Slytherin?
He absolutely is a Slytherin. Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
I wish I could undo my note. That was my like. If you would say like at gunpoint, who would you have picked? That's what I would have said.
Would you have said Slytherin? Yes. Oh my god.
Because I kept thinking of like the Life and Death Brigade. How like you would literally like do anything for those guys. Like it was a very like little tight knit little clique they had there.
I love Logan. I'm trying to find, because Rachel asked me, why is Logan into Rory? And I had to explain to her.
Yeah, I didn't Look, he's a spoiled little privileged child, right?
Yeah.
He is. But he's also, like, very aware of that, and he is the first one who puts Rory in her place, in my opinion, with the whole thing where he's just like, are you kidding me? Like, why are you... Shut up, you're privileged, whatever. He's very self-aware of who he is, but he also, I truly don't think he has any guilt about, like, spending his dad's money or going off and partying and doing these things, because he's resentful of what they expect from him, and he obviously doesn't like them very much, but he also respects them. So he's gonna do what is asked of him by his family, because I guess he feels like that's the right thing to do. I don't know. Couldn't be me. Like, it really could not be me. But he's very, like, he's showboaty, but he's also, like, so honest about all of it, right? Like, Rory wants a relationship with him, doesn't she? And at one point he's like, I'm not really into the commitment of it all.
Yep.
And then she pulls back and he's like, wait, actually.
He's like, they technically have, like, an open relationship. So he's, like, dating somebody else, and Rory is being weird about it. But then Rory goes on a date, and then he's like, never mind.
Yeah, it turns out I don't like this that much after all.
Yeah, he's like, well, it's okay when I do it, but...
I also felt like Logan was a good intellectual match for Rory. Like,
that's the one she should end up with, if it's any of them.
Like, they went toe to toe, and, like, he wasn't afraid to, like, he's used to speaking in front of people, you can tell. So, like, he had his arguments ready to go whenever she said anything.
Yeah.
And, like that's why he called her ace, right? Because she always thought she was so smart.
Yes, and because of the paper. In the paper, because she was, like, a hard-hitting journalist.
That he calls her ace.
I did, too.
Love that.
He's such a good boy. He's such a... I don't even... I love Logan.
Well, he's kind of a dick sometimes, too.
No,
he's
absolutely a dick. He, he has a spot in the paper because of who his dad is, and he does no work for the paper. And then, like, what is it, that day that Paris, like, fucks up and everybody has to take over, he, like, waltzes in and runs the entire fucking thing. Like, he knows everybody, he knows what their strengths are, he knows where to direct them to get the paper done. Like, he does it all, and Rory gets all the credit for it, but, like, he comes in and does it. Logan is extremely smart and extremely self-aware of what other people's strengths are and what they can do for him, like, what he can make them do. You see that I love his friend group, too. His friend group's so funny. But and his, like, whole life or death brigade, he knows what these people are good at and what they should do in order to make the things that happen that he wants to happen. Like, he knows how to, like, delegate and how to get people to do things. It's very Slytherin. And when he doesn't want to do things, he just doesn't. Like, and it does not affect him. Like, he does not feel the guilt or the shame or, like, the, oh my God, I'm wasting my life. He's like, that's not where my energy is at right now. So he's, like, not going to the paper. He's not attending, like, the life or death brigade or whatever.
But, and then look what happened when he did do what he didn't really originally want to do. He failed. Like, he
well, I mean, and I think his dad has such a, like, his dad's a bad person, but his dad has such a bad, like, wrong view of Logan. Like, his whole thing is, like, Logan is fucking around and he's lazy and he's slacker, just here to, like, he's a slacker. He's just here to have fun. And it's like, no, bro, he just doesn't want to do, like, that's his, he's kind of like Lorelai in that way, where it's like, that's his response. Like, he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do what I want to do. And when I'm ready to do the things that you want me to do, I will do them and I'll fucking be amazing at them, which he then does go do. But you can see in other cases when, like, Lorelai hates him or Luke hates him for no reason, and they're like, we don't like you because you're privileged and because you have money and that sort of thing, and because it was totally my daughter who stole the boat, but you were there, so I'm going to blame you because Rory would never do anything wrong. He, like, really sincerely is, like, trying with them. He's like, this is where my energy matters at the moment, and, like, I really want you to, like, he gives, they go to the Cape for Valentine's Day on, like, a double date thing, and Luke didn't buy Lorelai anything for Valentine's Day. So Logan's like, I got Rory 2 things. She really doesn't need to, like, that's an overkill. Like, you can have one of them. Never says a word about it. Lorelai never finds out that gift was not bought by Luke. Like, Logan is such genuinely a good guy when, I'm not even going to say necessarily when he wants to be, because I think he is naturally a good guy, But, like, when he puts his energy into it and when he really cares about people, he's an exceptionally good guy. Like, he really cared about Rory and he really cared about, like, impressing her family and the people that she loved. And that whole thing with when he shows up with her to dinner and they're like, Rory's not good enough for you. He had already decided that he was dating Rory. So, like, that wasn't his response to that. I don't think was like an unnatural response or like a rebellious response. He was like, oh, and this is what I told Rachel when she's like, why is he into Rory? He chose Rory for himself. He went out there and he chose her, right? That was for him. Like, Rory was for him. He was interested in her for whatever reason. And then he started having people going, well, that's not going to work. And he started getting a little like, I'm going to show you how it's going to work. It's going to work. And I can make it work. And you're all full of shit. Like, I chose her. She's mine. I want her. This is my choice. Right. So it kind of became a like, this is going to work because you all think that it can't work. And it did get to the point where when it was like, Rory's not into it, he just left. We didn't see him again, right? When she said, I don't want to get married, he was like, okay, bye. Yeah. Like, this is over. Bye. Like, he's like, that's not what I need. And
look how both of the Logic House
respects himself.
And the one emotion
he's
house
like, I'm not gonna.
Oh my God.
No, they're like, I'm done. I also got so mad when he went to London and he gave her that rocket ship, which was like so symbolic and meaningful to like their relationship and his love of Twilight Zone. And it's not like it was like fucking abstract. Like, they'd had a whole conversation about it. And Rory did not know what the fuck it was. She had to Google it and like find a man on the internet who could understand and tell her. And I was so mad at her for it. I was like, only a Slytherin would give you like a really thoughtful, deep, symbolic gift to your entire relationship. And only Rory would be like,
I don't get it.
I just simply don't remember this moment because it meant nothing to me. Like, I
the cold hard truth. Yeah. So the only guy she doesn't date is a Hufflepuff. The show never gave us a Hufflepuff.
She would have destroyed a fucking Hufflepuff.
I was about to say, like, maybe that's the fourth one. But...
yeah.
Ooh, imagine.
She would have absolutely wrecked a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, she wrecked a Gryffindor, so...
yeah, right? I mean, he was already on his way there, but...
Yeah, but he's doing really great later in life, and he figures it out. He, like, owns his own publishing company or something. Like, he does really fucking well. And he's still, like, I love the sound of your breathing 10 years later.
What do you think Logan does when he finds out that he has the kid?
I don't think she tells him.
You don't think he ever finds out?
Oh, I think he finds out eventually.
I don't think... I don't think she tells him. He might find out, but I don't think she tells him.
Well, but Tricia's asking, what do you think he's going to do when he finds out?
But the way that he finds out would affect how he... like what
okay, so if he finds out and she didn't tell him...
If Rory came to him and told him while she was pregnant, I think he would leave his wife, or not get married, rather. And I think he would go be with Rory.
I think so, too.
If he finds out, like... later in life, like the kid's older and Rory, hadn't told him. I think he would have a relationship with the kid and totally cut Rory out. Like, would not interact with her.
I think even like legally, like I think he would like go after her to get 50-50 custody. And
he would absolutely. He would cut Rory out any way that he could. Absolutely.
Yeah, so she better tell him. Yeah, she better tell him. Oof. Only a Gryffindor would forgive that.
Not being told.
Pathetic, man.
I don't understand how anybody could forget. I would be so furious. I'm furious for him. Like, this could never happen to me, right? I could never have a kid without knowing. I'm furious. Yeah. I'm furious about it. Like, he deserves the right to decide in what capacity he's gonna, like, do this. And Rory's obviously a part of that equation. If she's like, actually, I don't want you to see the kid, but then it's up for like whatever the legal system and how the two people communicating.
Yeah, but you're furious over a plot that wasn't explored. Like, you don't know.
She never.
You don't know.
She never told him. There's no way that she ever told him.
I don't know that she's dumb enough to not see that Logan will sue her to high fucking heaven.
Well, I think Rory is dumb enough to be like, I'm never going to get a DNA test, and therefore it's never a problem because there are 3 people that this baby could belong to.
You have a little blonde child. The only blonde boy you've ever hooked up with.
I do not see it. I do not see it. Listen, the Wookiee man never took off his mask, so she doesn't know what he looks like. He could be a blonde man. We don't know.
Oh, no.
The Wookiee man.
I really wish that this had continued. Like, I would have loved to have seen it. I was genuinely looking forward to the next chapter because I was like, oh, they're not going to end it there. And then they did. And I'm like, whoa, man. Oh, you got your full circle moment? Is that good writing to you? You got your full circle?
That's the thing, too.
Pissed me off.
I think Logan was waiting for Rory to ask him to leave his fiancée, and she just never fucking did. And he was like, all right. You know? Like, I got to keep doing me.
She doesn't speak up. She just blinks.
And Logan wasn't going to give to her. Like, Rory was doing the little, is she there? You know? And Logan was like, you got to say exactly what it is that you want. I'm not
Rory
doing this.
Rory does not like it when her boys are with other people. She does not once do you see her, like, handle it gracefully. Like, it's okay, it's all right.
She's not used to being like, second best.
Dean should pine for me. Or, like, Jess should pine for me.
She doesn't understand. She's like, how are you dating someone after me? I don't really get it. Like, you found somebody who is better? No.
Think of what we had.
So you've settled?
I don't really think of you at all.
You're right.
Oh, she's something else, man. She's something else.
She is an interesting character.
But she's played by a beautiful actress, so I guess.
Yes, Alexis
people
Bledel.
forgive.
What has Alexis Bledel done since then?
Sister of the Traveling Pants is the best thing she's ever done.
That's right. With American
was
Ferrera.
Just in Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's what she's done.
Thank you. You're right.
Yeah. Yep.
I knew there was something.
Yep. I knew she did a huge thing. Yeah.
She was good in that. And she was very not Rory, which I thought was
not Rory.
Which is
good
cool,
for her.
Yeah. I was sad that she didn't come back. I thought you were going
to come way harder on the Rory defense. I really did.
My only defense for Rory is just that for most of the show, she was just a teenager. Like, that's all.
Never would have done that as a teenager.
You should have been cool like me. You
should have not cheated on people like me, but, you know, that's just me.
Yeah. Well, she made her choices, and look where she ended up because of them. So it's
and, like, fun. I don't know, like, it's like, my daughter is almost 12, so, like, as she gets older, like, I see her making these stupid choices that are, like, so totally hormone-driven or, like, peer pressure, like, this is what people want me to do, and, like, you just have to sit back and be like, she'll figure it out, but, like, this is so dumb. And
I gave her, truly gave Rory the most grace in the season with Jess, because to me, they were two hormonal, ridiculous teenagers. Like, that was completely driven by attraction.
I gave her grace once she started dating him. When she was, like, mooning all over him while she was still dating Dean, I had nothing
that was
for
bad.
her. I had but I didn't give her any grace on that. Well, and also you need to be telling your current boyfriend, you know, like, I'm attracted to another person and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that. You know?
And you can't just kiss him and leave for the summer and not talk and then be mad that he has a girlfriend when you come back. Like, girl, these are not fair emotions. I don't know what to tell you. They're not fair.
But that's, like, a teenage girl in a nutshell.
I know, like, but then Tricia, then she's, like, in her 20s. Like,
still doing the same shit. Yeah. Because nobody ever, like,
But it's okay. Her emotional support Gryffindor came in and fixed her life again.
Fucking Lorelai never says, like, Rory, maybe you shouldn't. She just, like, takes her away to Europe. Or, like, is like, okay, don't cheat next time. And then she does. And she's like, well, don't do it next time. You know, like.
So bad. So bad. Bad, Lorelai. Give me the spray bottle. Bad parenting. She's a good mom. She just doesn't always make the best choices with that kid. I'm telling you, it aggravates me.
It's like you were telling me, she wants so badly not to be Emily that she's like, I will not yell at her. I will not, you know, I will not tell her who she has to be. If she's a cheater, then she's a cheater.
Well, I can see the capacity to be like that in me with my daughter. Like, I never want to discipline my daughter. Like, I never want to yell at her. I never want to raise my voice or, like, show her anger or disappointment even, like, on a much lesser scale. I never want to discipline her in any way. Like, I don't want to do it. I make myself do it, though. I make myself tell her, like, that was a bad choice. You need to do, I know you can do better, whatever. Even though, like, I'll go in the other room and cry after I do it. Because I see her little face and she's like, I messed up. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, God, no. You're perfect, baby. You did nothing wrong ever. It kills me to do it. So I get it. And she was a lone Gryffindor out there by herself, and she just wanted to be.
And so, like, young.
Oh, so young.
But listen, and this is also where Lorelai loses me too. Like, she was by herself by her own choice, right? Like, she could have stayed with her parents.
No.
I mean, she could have.
No. To what? Dude, she would have gone nuts. She could not have done that in a healthy way mentally.
But Rory would have had a good life. So, like...
Lori still had a good life. Rory.
Did she?
Call her Lori?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, weird. Also, I love that she called her Lorelai.
I know.
Love it. I love it.
You think it's dumb? You don't think it's funny?
What?
Lauren, I thought you said I don't when you.
Oh no, I kind of rolled my eyes a little. Typical shit from Gryffindors.
I get her, man. I get her really deeply, especially being that she was young, and I will use that card on her and only her alone. So. No, she fucked up a lot. They all do.
I love Gilmore Girls. I love all the characters, even though a lot of them are dumb a lot of the times. I loved how they all interacted. I love the small town thing.
It made me want to go to a small town so bad.
I love how they use Kirk in every store. It was the best.
I love the townspeople, yeah.
The music players.
Yeah. Their house with like the hanging flowers from the top from the wrap.
The lilacs. Yeah.
My God. Gorgeous. My dream home. Are you kidding? I love it so much. And even like when she works at the inn, can you imagine? Like just in your small town, you have like a little small town job and like it's, I don't know. They have a wonderful life. I'm very jealous of their lives. But yeah, it's a nice show. It's a nice show to kind of like just have on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it on. You know, you don't even need to really be focusing and paying attention. It's not for that all the time. It's a good show to have on in the background. For the most part, I think I find it to be a feel-good show. For the most part. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
get a little drama in there, but...
I do too.
It's nice that nothing happens sometimes. You're just like...
Sometimes it is.
You know, I'm glad I watched it. I'm also glad I never have to watch it again. You know? I don't know if I'll ever put it on again. But
well, it's no Friends, I'll tell you.
I was going to say, like, usually my background noise needs a little humor to it. I put on, like, 30 Rock or something like that.
Well, you have to really think Lorelai is very funny, and a lot of people do, but
well,
I can tell that you weren't as taken by her.
No. I like Lorelai, and I do agree that she's funny, but she doesn't, it's not like Jenna Maroney, right? You have to listen to her talk very fast and, like, hit the pop culture in order to be like, ha, you know?
Yeah, that's the other big giveaway for her is the pop culture references. Like, we can't help it. I don't know why. I don't know why. A disease. It is. It's brain rot. Anyway, I think... This is 2 hours, guys.
Yeah, 2
hours of
I mean, we sorted 6 characters, so that's good.
We did great.
Yeah,
Tricia, you nailed it like so often.
Yeah,
you're very good at this.
Everyone that you
started
did
off strong.
Oh yeah,
it's been 2 hours. The boyfriends after a while, confusing. You're like, whatever. Just tell me what you.
Boys are stupid.
Boys are stupid,
too.
But you knew the girls, so
they're the 2 most important ones.
Yep.
Honestly, trying to understand men is just like whole other thing. So
such a problem. I couldn't understand Logan either. Like, don't worry about it.
I understood everything about him. I would date Logan in a heartbeat.
I do love him though. Like
I would date him in a heartbeat.
Sure. That's my number one choice for Rory.
I would have said yes to his
I think
proposal.
we all agree. We all agree on the choice for Rory. Good.
I wouldn't do that to him. But
you know, if you have to pick one that she should
I'm living in the reality where she doesn't tell him until after the baby's born and he takes the baby from her.
Write the fic.
Write the fic. That's why my cat, Rory and
Logan Holtzberger fic.
Those were the 2 that I thought were the best.
It ends with Luke and Lorelai burying the body at sea, okay? Because they're not going to let Rory face anything.
Logan.
Yeah.
As long as Rory's not hurt. Luke would probably bury it and move it a couple times.
Yep, probably. I bet he would. And Jess would be back there, like with the binoculars, like, that's great. Now's my chance.
God,
poor Jess.
I know.
Is it? He did this to himself.
Lovesick puppy.
You don't choose who you fall for, Lauren.
I know, okay? But he could go out there and love someone else. Believe in him.
You know that he can't. I thought you understood my house.
Listen, you know what?
You know that he can't.
Rory needs to be murdered to free all these men, I think. That's what needs to happen.
Oof. That's what the reunion is. After the baby, though. After the baby. She has the baby.
No,
and
we
then
give the baby to Luke and Lorelai.
Adopts her and makes her finally like her high society.
I was going say Luke and Lorelai adopt the baby, but all right.
No, Emily gets it. Emily wins. She wins the whole thing.
It's Emily's free. It's actually.
Yeah.
But Emily's
They
all
should
along.
do a prequel, and
I would do that.
I'd
you
watch
know,
that.
I would. You remember when Gossip Girl tried to do the prequel with Lily? You remember that episode? It was supposed to be a spin-off prequel,
That
like
was good.
pilot. It was really good. I would have watched it. But I would watch it with Emily
the
too.
City prequel was good too. I never watched it.
I did watch it and I really liked it.
I
didn't
like the
even know
book,
there
so I
was
never
one.
watched it.
It was on the CW.
Carrie
It's called The
Diaries.
Carrie Diaries. And it's only got Samantha in it because she didn't meet the other two until later on. And I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I really
Didn't
liked
like the book, though.
liked the boyfriend who she, obviously doesn't end up with because
I just don't love that. Like that prequels. Sometimes I want them, but other times I'm like, I know where it ends.
yeah,
Like,
I know. But I also, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I really liked because I was like, he's not going to die. So I was
True.
like, why,
A spoiler alert.
he did not die before the events of Star Wars. Anyway.
Well, Tricia, thank you for being here for so long.
I hope you'll come back and that you
I
enjoyed
will
it.
come
I mean,
back.
she was here for like 4 hours last time because we did 2 episodes.
I know.
So
We just got to pick. Oh, you like Manifest, right?
Yeah.
Josh
I think I'm going
Dallas,
to insist on that next year.
Prince
if you want to do it.
Charming.
Because
Yes.
I really like Manifest. So.
I didn't watch the
Charming.
last episodes yet, so don't.
Me
don't
neither.
say
I
nothing.
haven't.
Okay.
I haven't.
I'm
I
like,
stopped in like season 3, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
They just released the second
Yeah, I
half
know.
of the last season.
I know.
so
I know.
Yes, sign me up.
Shit's crazy. But yes, okay, so we'll
I mean, like
reconvene
in a
next
year, whatever.
Next year. Yes.
I already have
Man,
house opinions.
Next year's always going to be great. I mean, I'm making Rachel do Merlin for my birthday next year. Spoiler
Mhm.
prequel for everyone. So
She's doing Buffy for my birthday this year. That means I have nothing left next year.
What do
I don't
you
care about it.
mean?
Oh, Stranger Things.
If it comes out on time, the WGA strike is going.
I'm going to just tell you, even if
Yeah.
it doesn't, you're doing it. So that's that. Because I can't take it anymore. I have to talk to you about it.
It's been too long.
She does. She's like, I'm going to watch it. I just want to wait for the last season to come out because I don't want to wait 3 years for the final season. And it's driving her crazy.
You're going to have to. Sorry. All right. Thank you again, Tricia.
Yes, thank you. Next episode is Hannah's birthday episode, and we'll be doing Chris Pine Star Trek. I don't know why she's humoring me like this, but she is. So, Chris Pine Star Trek, and then
Why does everyone love me so much?
I know. And then the end of the month is the back half of the Nancy Drew characters. So, which Rachel and I, the new season came out, the final season. So we gotta start watching that.
Nace Endgame. Nace Endgame.
Trisha, you should watch Nancy Drew.
Well,
it's very, it's more in the Gotham Knights supernatural range of CW shows.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard from a bunch of people that I should watch
would
it,
like
so
it.
it's on my
You'd like
list.
You would like it.
It's good.
Yep.
It's on there.
It's got an extremely good ship. Like they watched Supernatural and they took the Destiel classes. They really did. Yep.
All right, it's
another
moving up on
fanficky
my
one.
list.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Awesome. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!